Let's just go ahead and go to the utilities, which is here up here. There's different utilities, and most of them should be pretty self-explanatory. So by the way, this is because I loaded the root. You can see that the root is following the character. Yeah, you see that's the root. So for people in games or whatever, you want the root following, that's basically how you do it. I loaded the root. Okay, so now let's do the snap to the ground. Let's say you have a bumpy terrain and you just want to quickly snap it. Obviously, the more controllers you have, the more detailed the snap would be. So let's just load the ground. So because it's the attached ground, load your ground plane. I think you can only deal with one ground plane. So you have multiple ground planes, you might want to combine them. Select your curve. Basically, all the utilities require to select the path you want to be dealing with. And then you can attach. And that's basically it. It's attached down and it stretches out back so that it's maintain its length. It needs to maintain the length, otherwise things would start to slide around. Your feet will not stick. So due to Maya's geo constraint issue, sometimes these controls can start to squash. So we have this restore length. If you click it, it restores it back to its original length. Okay, so this is so that your feet will continue to stay. Let me turn off these up vectors. So yep, you can see that your feet still sticks very well. And of course, if something is not touching the ground, you may just, animate this rotation. Okay, so I would probably, if there's something is not perfect, go ahead and you could just animate the adjustments right there. And then, yep, there we go. So you can animate the feet if it's not good. So let's delete all that just so I have a clean controller. I just want to delete all that. Okay, cool. So that's that. The square controller is not attached to the ground, so you can actually lift it off if you really want to. If you want to detach, you can click detach. That basically allows you to lift it back up. You can lift it back up. Okay, so let's go back to, let's zero this back out. How do I zero this back out? I select, this is the path FK under select the entire chain. I zero, bam. I'm back to what I originally had. So I just want to do a quick demo of how to utilize the arrows, which is the up vector. So for something that, if you have characters that walk vertically, you can see that the up arrows is pointing with the path parallel to the part. So the tool doesn't know which side it's supposed to flip to, and it'll do that flip. And to stabilize it, you would select, let's say you select the up vector, this selects all of them, and then you can basically animate them to be perpendicular, because that's the up vector of the character. So that's, you're telling the tool that's your up. That's your up. So yep, basically it's just a matter of animate them to follow that. There you go, and there. So now you have the whole character walking basically upside down, and it won't flip when it's vertical like that. Okay, so now I want to talk about pin controls. So I repathed it back to a straight line so it's cleaner and easier to see, and this time I pathed it tracing its up and down, and I do single path tracing. Okay, so you can see that now with the pivot at its chest, I should get a nicer result when I move up and down like this. The body should be able to curve with it, and also when you bend, this is when you get a nicer result if you bend up and down. But of course, for example, in a jump like this, you want the feet to still continue to stick to the ground. So in cases like this, pin could be useful. Pin controllers basically forces this controller to be stuck to whatever position this is. So the pin is called the Lollipop, which is a cool name that I came up with, and I thought it's pretty fun. I like it. Get it? Lollipop? It's a lollipop. literally. So it basically pins it to world space. You can, if you really want to, you can animate this pin, and if you want to remove the pin, simply delete it. Or you can also, if you have a bunch of pin everywhere, you can also just delete all pins if you decide to delete. Here I want to talk about maintain speed. So I have a running lioness. You can see that her feet is pretty well planted on the ground. There's no sliding and everything. So maintain speed is so usually, so because if you drag this out, for example, you really want this stride to be larger, so I drag, okay, let's just exaggerate it. Okay, if you do that, for whatever reason you decide to animate like this, when you stretch this out, you actually increase the speed depending on how far you stretch. So if I stretch like this, nobody's gonna animate like this, but you know, who knows. But if you do that, you see it, the reason it's stretching out like the lion stretched to this degree is because the head hits this part and start flying across to this side, and then the next thing hitting is the chest, and then the next thing hitting is the leg, and then they all start stretching far apart. So we obviously don't want that. So that's when maintaining speed comes in. Let's zero back so everything is still okay. So if I select the path and then I click maintain speed, now it's on. Now I can do what I just did. I'm just about to stretch this out. Now now you see the stride increases, but it's not stretching like crazy. It's and the feet is still sticking to the ground. You see? Let's get closer. You see the front hits the ground, hits the ground, and let me just show you. Let's go here. You see? What happens is the strides actually slowly decreases, but it's basically decreases throughout the entire length. So the stride, if I really want, I can like let's just exaggerate things, okay? So I'm gonna really squash her in like this. So it's actually slowly, gradually reducing her stride. So this is good for if you have a long run cycle and you just want a certain stride size. You can do that. Like now she has a tiny stride throughout the whole thing, but the idea is that she does not do that like crazy stretch or squash. So that's what maintain speed is. It basically maintains the speed as you press it. So if you have slow, fast running lion, it'll maintain that slow, fast situation. So feel free to play around with that. So now let's talk about time warp. So everything on this path will be warped together, and this is the reason why we load everything. We need the entire controller of the creature, because everything needs to warp together, otherwise only you can't have the creature partially warped. So everything warps, including my path. So let's animate the path just so that we can demonstrate that everything gets warped. I animated up and I animated over. I animated the up vector, it turns sideways, and I'm gonna animate it, you know, here let's turn him this way, let's flip him that way. Okay, so now everything made it that way. Okay, cool. So now let's select the path again. For utility, select the path, select create time warp. Okay, so now your entire thing is on this time warp. Select the oh yes, click select to select that time warp in case you closed it. Select the path, press, hold down I and click the path. Left mouse click or mid mouse click, both works. And now let's see. I'm gonna, if I drag it under, he goes backwards. So let's look at how this look like. He goes backwards and then goes forward, goes up, and then he goes up and then flip around, and let's see. You see, if I retime it up and down, everything is Everything is moving back and forth, including the arrows, including the path. So the entire setup will, which makes sense because you want an entire your design, your animation design to stay solid, and to just hone this in. Let's just completely freeze this creature at here. I'm just gonna completely freeze him for a long time just to prove that everything should be frozen. So here goes backwards because I have to grab backwards. Run here, froze, freeze, freeze. If there's anything moving, that means if anything's moving, that means your selection set doesn't contain everything. So this is a quick way to check if some things is moving. Check your selection set. You might want to create a new one and put that in. Okay, so let's say this is the animation you really like. This is the one you want to submit to your supervisor or whatever. You would select the path again, and then you can actually, if you want to keep working on this scene, you can actually just bake. Now it's a shift animation. So shift animation is select your path, and it will be able to shift your entire animation. And again, this one requires you to load all the controller set over here for the shift, because you cannot just shift partial creature. The tool needs to know your entire creature. So let's shift it. So let's right now he's starting from here. Let's shift it by 10 frames. Just simply click plus. Now he's not moving and he only starts animating at 10 frames. Now let's talk about reverse path controller. So right now this is an FK chain, but sometimes people want to change the beginning of it. So you select the random path controller and then go reverse path controller. It reversed the FK chain backwards. So now you can change the beginning and you can animate. You can yeah, the FK chain's reversed. There you go. Select all controllers. We'll select every single controller, and select all motion path. We'll select all your motion path. So this is useful if you wanted to slide along the curve. You can adjust your motion path like this, or if you want to speed this up by whatever reason, but that creates a pop. So you might want to use, you know, a lattice, and this is how you can speed up. This works best if you have a straight line. Your path is straight, so it's not dealing with the up and down. Then you can nicely slide. But you can see how you can slide back and forth like this. Okay. Cool. So snap to curve. Go to create. Create your CV curve. Go ahead and start drawing however you like. Okay, enter. You basically select this controller, select your drawn curve, click snap to curve. It should go over there, and the feet should all stick. It should maintain the right length, and you can see that all your feet is sticking pretty well. And I have to mention that sometimes at the end things can go a little bit crazy at the end. Sometimes it breaks. I would say usually try to give your animation another, you know, extra length to sometimes, just in case things gets jumbled up at the end. So that's it.